And welcome to a brand new breaking news session. Just now, I want to talk about here on this wonderful Saturday with you guys about something that I talked about a lot in the beginning of this channel. You know, the beginning of this channel was somewhere in the summer of 2019, and there was the big news of the trade deal discussions. Now, this was an economical political event that was really driving the markets down. We saw deal, no deal, deal, we are closer, we are far apart, China don't want to agree, la la la. So we had so much back and forth during this whole months that so my computer decided to just switch me on again. So, however, I wanted to discuss this because this has maybe a tremendous impact on the stock market. Now we know we will talk about later in the big live stream tonight, or later on during the day for you. Depends from where you are watching from. But let me know in the comments, obviously, as always, where you are watching from. But what I wanted to say is that this can be a very impactful event. Now, we are in a very high valuation on the stock market, which we will discuss later on in the big live stream. But these valuations are priced to perfection. This means what? I believe that the market will be sensitive for major negative news. So we will see if something like Trump pushing against this, then we shall see very much impact on the stock market. I believe, this is just an assumption, but I don't think that the stock market at this moment, and it's all about always investing and stock market, all about what the market expect and what's happening. Okay, if the market expects that and something totally different happens, if a company is expected to make 1 million profit and they make 2 million negative loss, that's very bad. That's way under the expectation, and it goes down for the market. So the market don't like uncertainty, and this kind of expectations, if going in the wrong direction, can be very effective. Now let's have a look. What is the latest status? Now, a lot of our news outlets are talking about that actually Trump torn over US-China trade deal as officials push to fulfill its terms. Now, we have to understand, so firstly, it is that we are, or US and China agreed to a phase one deal. Everything is signed, everything is under the roof, right? However, obviously the current health situation and economic situation is giving us very new conditions where maybe the one or the other country says, hey guys, you know what, we would love to buy X billion of or trillion of it's rather billion, but the billions of agriculture products, but we can't. We need to support our economy, so we can't fulfill this contract. And this is what the US and China is actually working currently on with some top executives to see how they can solve this together to fulfill its terms or to find a solution, an alternative solution. And Trump has its own theory. Before we diving into that, make sure to smash that thumb up button. This helps a lot for this live streams and this channel. Obviously, I am super grateful for all your support. Trump has the opinion that China not only should fulfill their contract, but also should pay for damages of the current health crisis. Now, this is quite interesting because this would mean that USA would, whatever it is, charge China with a certain amount of damage coverage. And this would be very interesting, guys. Something like this just only happened in the World War II, in this kind of way. But in this brand new times, where we have such a global event, to let the country pay for damages, This will be super interesting, guys. And, I want to show you something that is currently circulating the news. So Trump, who has blamed China early handling of the outbreak in Wuhan in late 2019 for causing thousands of deaths and millions of job losses in the US, has threatened to terminate the trade deal if China fails to meet its purchase commitments. So here we are. This is where Trump is pushing, and he said on Wednesday that he will assess that effort within the next week. Now, we are seeing here that on Friday, US President said he was very torn about whether the end so-called phase one US-China trade deal, just hours of top traders officials from both countries pledged to press ahead with implementing it despite the economic wreckage. So I see that here, on the one side, obviously, the Trump administration was really helped the economy, and obviously this was is a big part of a big customer in the end, what China would be, with all the agriculture purchase and so much more, that this phase one deal is actually having. Let's actually have a look what the trade deal phase one highlights. So here we go. Phase one deal, trade deal. So what does it say? China purchases. China agreed to increase purchases of American products and services by at least 200 billion over the next 2 years. So you see, if China cannot do this or half fulfill only, then obviously, this 200 billion will be less in the US pockets in this very heavy timings. Then we have China bought 130 billion in US goods in 2017 before the trade war began, and 56 billion in services, US data shows. So huge improvement here on whatever will be spent by China. China has committed to 77.7. I think this is a interesting number, because it's the lucky number of Chinese people. You see this lot in the Chinese gambling. 777 is a very lucky number. In additional manufacturing purchases over 2 years from the 2017 level. The text says which will be 32.9 billion increase in 2020 and 44 billion increase in 2021. So you see here significant increase as well. China has committed to buying at least 52.4 billion in additional energy purchases over the next 2 years from a baseline of 9.1 billion in 2017 that will be broken into 18.5 billion additional in 2020 and 33.9 billion in 2020. China will also purchase 37 billion in services from the US companies over the next 2 years, 12.8 billion above the 2017 level in 2020 and 25.1 billion above the levels in 2021. China shall ensure additional purchases of agriculture products by 32 billion over 2 years, and the deal says including 12.5 billion above the corresponding 2017 baseline of 24 billion in 2020 and 19.5 billion above the baseline in 2021. That would give an annual total of about 40 billion, a number Trump has touted before. So you can see here, and then it goes a little bit about the other things, but I wanted to just show you how big obviously this is for the US economy, and I think this is very important that both sides actually fulfill this. But I can also understand totally both sides that say, it's very difficult times, guys, and we cannot fulfill it. Maybe we should just pause it for 1 year or just reduce it by 50%. Because, in the end, both countries need these funds to save and secure their own economies. But I think that, trade war, a brand new discussion, or a canceling of the deal would just bring so much uncertainty to the market that this will definitely affect the US economy. Definitely, guys. Even though we are very strong on the positive sides, I think that the current situation in the new trade deal, or the trade deal 2, how I wrote in the title and the thumbnail, is would be very devastating for those markets. So yeah, that was breaking news. Thank you very much for tuning in. Make sure to thumb up, and I see you later for my daily vlog as well as my daily live stream.